All right, so we're going to make two JavaScript components basically today. We're going to make the nav bar and we're going to make the slider. First, we'll go ahead and make the nav bar. And just as we have built all these things, there's three main technologies we're using. We're using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we're going to build them in that order. So first, we'll make the elements in HTML, then we'll format in CSS, and then we'll use JavaScript to add the interactivity component to it. Okay. So in this one, we're just going to go ahead and write the HTML. It's relatively easy. I'm just going to go ahead and actually make the classes while we make them as well. And I'm just going to put it right inside of this content row. I should probably make another row, but I don't feel like doing that. It'll work all the same in here. So we're just going to do div, class, and then we're just going to do col-12-s. So that way it will be the full range, right? I'm going to have it go all the way across. So we'll do that first. The next thing we're going to want to do is make our unordered list. So it's an unordered list like you would make any other unordered list. So let's just go ahead and do that. So it's going to be a UL. If you remember, we always make menu items as unordered lists. And then we have list items. And then inside that list item, I'm going to put an href. And we're just going to put a pound symbol. So that way it's just a dead link. Obviously, we could... oops, didn't mean to do that like that. Obviously, we could put, we could have it go somewhere, but in this case, we're just not going to. And I'm just going to write home for this first one. And I'm going to add a class onto the list item so that way I can adjust it. So we're just going to go ahead and do a class, and we're just going to call it nav. Okay. And after that, I'm just going to take this one and just copy and paste it. Control-C or Command-C if you're on a Mac. Control-V, Control-V, Control-V. Doing 4. And then we're just going to change the names here. So we'll call this one news. Call this one about. And then we'll call this one, was it contact us? Contact us. Okay. So we have our components there, which is great. We're going to make one other thing. Because if you remember, if we're doing this responsive one, I'm going to have my menu like this one, which works great for a horizontal menu, right? And also for a vertical. But I want to be able to collapse this so that there's also that little hamburger. So inside of this, we're actually going to add the hamburger menu as well. And instead of using, which honestly you probably should use, something like Font Awesome or the Bootstrap icons that you can utilize, but we can utilize those, but we'd have to attach them up top. I'm just going to go ahead and just do dashes and just format them to make it look like a hamburger, which I think is fine. So we're just going to make a div, and I'm just going to go ahead in order to format it. I'm going to say div ID equals quotes, and we're just going to call it hamburger, like that. And then inside of that, we're just going to go ahead and make our thing here. So it's just going to be a P, and we're just going to put a dash. And we're just going to do 3 of those. So Control-C, enter Control-V, enter Control-V. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now if we were to preview it, you're going to see that we have these 3 dashes, and then we have the menu underneath. Okay, which that's what I was looking for. So because this is basically going to represent my mobile menu part. But one issue with this is that it actually needs to be inside of a link. As you see, these are all list items and hyperlinks, and this is just the hamburger part. So I actually need to wrap this inside of a list item. So we're just going to go ahead and do a list item, and then inside of that list item, we're going to go ahead and actually inside. We're just going to make it just like the other one. So class and call it nav. And then we're also going to add an ID to this that's specific for what this is going to be, which is menu BTN. And then inside of that, we're going to put an href. Again, just a blank one like that. And then we'll close that out. And then we're going to actually want to put this hamburger div inside of that. So I'm going to grab this, Control X. And so instead of having just a blank one here, we're just going to put this in here. I'm going to enter, and then I'm going to paste it in here. So, So basically, you have a list item just like the other ones, but inside of the href, instead of it just being word here, it's going to be this div that has these wrapped in it. Okay, so they'll all be part of that button itself. And that should be good. I think we have all the components. So now if we save that, should look pretty much the same, really, except that now you can see these look like icons. So these are going to have to get formatted because obviously this is not the way you want it to look. Doesn't look very nice. So we're just going to go ahead and in the next one do the CSS to fix that up.